Look, I promise I'm gonna make this right. Just listen to me for a second.
Marcus Davis, 32, runs a small consulting firm in Portland. But a decade ago, he was sleeping in his car, washing dishes for 12 hours a day, counting every dollar just to survive. The man who changed everything was George Miller, the restaurant owner who gave Marcus work without making him feel broken. On the day Marcus left, George told him something he never forgot. If you ever get the chance to help someone, don't make them feel smaller than you. Just open the door. Let them walk through on their own. One Saturday, Marcus was having lunch at Riverside Bistro when a woman in a faded blue dress walked in with a little girl gripping her side. The woman studied the menu, not choosing, calculating. Her eyes went straight to the prices. When the server mentioned the kid's discount no longer applied, her shoulders tightened. She opened her wallet. A few small bills, some coins. The little girl wasn't looking at the menu. She was looking at Marcus's plate. Not with greed, just quiet, steady hunger. The kind that comes from a child who has already learned not to ask for too much. Marcus felt something pull tight in his chest. He remembered standing outside a bakery years ago, telling himself he could last one more day if he just didn't think about it. Then the mother stood up, took her daughter's hand, and walked toward the door. No scene, no explanation. Just leaving with her dignity intact. Marcus followed them outside. "Excuse me, could you wait a second?" The woman turned. Her eyes were sharp, guarded. Not pride, but the look of someone who had been hurt before by people who said they only wanted to help. He kept his voice low. "You and your daughter can sit at my table." "I ordered too much." She refused immediately. He didn't push. He apologized and let them walk away. The little girl looked back once over her shoulder, eyes still on the restaurant. Nearly a week later, Marcus spotted them at Riverside Park. He chose a bench far enough away to not feel threatening, opened a book, and waited. She noticed him within minutes. Her back straightened, one hand moved to her bag strap. He stayed seated, turned a page he hadn't really read. Over the next 2 weeks, he kept returning, never approaching, never waving, always keeping distance, letting her decide. Slowly, the space between them shrank on its own, until one Thursday afternoon they ended up on the same bench. She was at one end. He was at the other. Emma played nearby with a plastic shovel and dry leaves. Then Emma came running over. "Mama, that's the man from the restaurant." Sarah pulled her daughter close, not roughly, just protectively, and looked at Marcus. "I appreciate that you haven't pushed," she said quietly, "but I need to be honest. I don't accept help from strangers." Then she told him why. Her name was Sarah Mitchell. 2 years ago, Emma's father left. She had no recent work experience, no references, just a gap in her resume from staying home with her daughter. No one would hire her. Then she met Richard Hale, a businessman who offered her a job with good pay and flexible hours. At first it was fine. Then came the requests. Staying late, having dinner with clients, wearing the clothes he picked, smiling more. Every time she hesitated, he reminded her that she owed him, that no one else would have hired her. When she finally said no, he blacklisted her. Told employers she stole money, that she used men to get ahead. She lost her apartment. She and Emma spent 4 months in a shelter. Now she was doing laundry work for cash. Low pay, no security, but at least she didn't know anyone. "So when you offered to help," she told Marcus, her eyes red at the edges but her voice steady, "I kept waiting for you to name the real price. Because I've learned that nothing is free. Sooner or later, there's always a bill." Marcus didn't rush to tell her he was different. He knew men like Richard said the same thing. Instead, he said simply, "Thank you for telling me." Then he told her about George, about sleeping in his car, about being afraid of everything, about what it meant to receive help without losing your dignity. Then he placed his business card on the bench between them, not handing it to her, just placing it. "I need an administrative assistant. Scheduling, emails, client materials, filing. This isn't charity, it's a real job. Interview, contract, probation period, clear salary. I'm not asking you to answer now. If you want to interview, call the office. If you don't, that's fine too. I'll still come to the park." She stared at the card for a long moment. "Why are you doing this?" "Because George opened a door for me once. Now it's my turn. Whether you walk through it is up to you." 3 days passed with no call. On the 4th day, the office phone rang. "Mr. Davis, this is Sarah Mitchell. If the position is still open, I'd like to interview." On Monday, she arrived 15 minutes early. Dress carefully ironed, resume printed on slightly yellowed paper. Marcus interviewed her exactly like any other candidate. When he asked about the gap in her work history, she didn't avoid it. She simply said she had been caring for her daughter and faced some difficult circumstances. She didn't have impressive degrees, but she was sharp, careful, and clearly capable. He offered her the job. 3-month probation, market rate salary, benefits after permanent hire. She read the contract quietly, then looked up. "It's fair. It should be." For the first time since he'd known her, Sarah smiled. Small, but real. "Then I accept." She started the following week. Marcus treated her exactly like any other employee. Corrected mistakes calmly, acknowledged good work, never called after hours for anything non-business, never asked about her personal life unnecessarily. The first few days, she walked into every meeting like she was bracing for bad news. But slowly, she began to settle. In her 2nd week, she reorganized the meeting schedule to eliminate time zone conflicts. In the 3rd, she caught an error in a contract before he signed it. In the 4th, she identified software subscriptions the company no longer needed, saving money without being asked. Marcus realized he had almost passed on a genuinely capable person simply because her past looked messy on paper. Then came the real test. Around 8 p.m. on a weeknight, his phone rang. Sarah's voice was panicked. Emma had a high fever and trouble breathing. She was heading to the ER, but tomorrow was a client meeting, and she was still on probation, and she didn't know how she'd pay. And, "Sarah," he cut her calm. "Stop. Take Emma to the hospital. Work is not more important than your daughter." A pause. "Which hospital?" "County General." "I'll come." "You don't have to." He hung up before she could argue. When he arrived, Sarah was in the waiting area holding Emma in her lap. The little girl's face flushed, her breathing labored. Sarah was stroking her hair and whispering, "Mama's here. Mama's here." She looked up when she saw Marcus. Surprise, then relief, then shame. "You actually came." The doctors suspected pneumonia. They wanted to admit Emma for antibiotics and oxygen. Sarah didn't know how she'd pay. Marcus told her he'd cover the bill directly. Nothing owed in return. Not loyalty, not extra hours, not affection. Nothing. Her eyes filled with tears. "I don't know how to accept something like this without feeling like I'm being tied down," he answered quietly. "Don't accept it for yourself. Accept it for Emma. She needs treatment. And she shouldn't have to suffer because the adults around her were hurt before." Sarah held her daughter tighter. Before she walked away to the nurse, she looked back at him one more time. "You won't use this to change how you treat me at work, will you?" "I will still expect you to do your job well." She let out a small broken laugh through her tears. Okay, Emma was admitted for 3 days. Marcus handled the billing, made clear all medical decisions remained Sarah's, and stayed, not always talking, sometimes just sitting in the hallway for hours. On the 2nd night, Sarah came and sat beside him. "You could have just paid and left." "I know." "Why did you stay?" He looked through the glass at Emma's room. Because when someone is afraid, sometimes presence matters more than money. On the 3rd morning, Emma's fever broke. She opened her eyes, saw her mother, then saw Marcus in the doorway. "Mr. Marcus is still here." He smiled. "I'm still here." Emma's voice was small and certain. "You're good. Like Mama." Sarah started crying. Not from sadness, but because after months of living in suspicion, her daughter had just called a man good without fear. That night, Marcus understood something clearly. He no longer saw Sarah as just someone he wanted to help. He had begun to care about her in a way that went beyond what an employer should feel. And because of that, he knew he had to be even more careful. If he ever let those feelings turn into pressure or expectation, he would become a prettier version of Richard. He could never allow that to happen. So he did what George had taught him. He kept the door open and he waited.